Hey, Kansas City, this is Let's Talk Shop KC podcast. We are here with my guy, Dorian. Hey, but before we get started, I'm going to have him introduce himself and just let you know, why did he make it to the platform? What exactly are we going to be interviewing him about? And then more importantly, what can we gain from Dorian bringing his knowledge to the platform? So before we get started, I always have my guests start off in prayer. Is that something that you feel comfortable doing, sir?
I can do it.
All right, perfect. Let's get started.
All right. Everybody can close your eyes back here. Dear Heavenly Father, just thank you for this moment. Thank you for allowing my life to be something that, people will want to talk about and learn more from. Thank you for just getting us here on this journey together. God, I pray that things come from this. I think that, Reggie and I connecting, is for the purpose of this interview, but I think it's for so much more. And everybody in this room, I pray that we just able to continue to grow and thrive together and glorify you. And I pray that, whatever you would want me to say and whatever you want Reggie to ask will be an effort to glorify you. So yes. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So you know how we do. We're going to get started, but we might dive in a little deep. So I'm going to just lighten the load just a little bit. So we got a little game here. I ain't going to tell you the name of it because they're not paying any type of endorsements or anything at this point. Right? Right. So we're going to play the game. If you know the game, then that's what's up. If you don't, then... Or if you are the owner of this game, reach out to your boy so we can have some type of collaboration, right? So I'll have you just pick one of these.
Let's do this one right here.
And you pass it to me. All right. So it says an 8-month pregnant woman and an 80-year-old elderly woman asked for your bus seat at the same time. Who would you give up your seat to?
8-month pregnant and an 80-year-old elderly woman?
Yes, sir.
I would more than likely give my seat to the 8-month pregnant woman.
Oh, man. Why?
I think because I hope that we're trending more toward a health conscious society right now. So I would give it to the pregnant woman because she's literally carrying a life. She's probably weighed down. She's probably big stomach, big belly, everything like that. With the 80-year-old woman, my grandma is like on her way to being 85. She still can get around. She's good. Hopefully this 80-year-old woman is similar to her, and my grandma doesn't mind, doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
All right. All right. I see you. All right. Right on. Hey, so let's just get started, man.
Yes, sir.
Introduce yourself. What's your name?
I'm Dorian Giles, born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, live in Houston, Texas now, practicing lawyer, also executive director of the Winner Circle Collective.
Okay. Winner Circle Collective.
Yes, sir.
What is that? And so a big part of my audience, you'll hear me make reference a lot of times to the youth, the young people. Mm-hmm. And so for those that are watching that doesn't necessarily understand what the Winner Circle Collective is, what does that mean? In layman's terms.
In layman's terms, just to kind of, be general, the Winner Circle Collective is really just supposed to represent Kansas City. A lot of times Kansas City has existed in silos. And so we wanted to create a space for people, different entities, different entrepreneurs or organizations to come together and just kind of celebrate our greatness together. Like Kansas City is the Winner Circle. It is the name of our organization, but it's supposed to represent the city at large, at scale. And so that's who we are. So everybody in this room is technically, the way we envision it, is a part of the Winner Circle Collective. Okay,
so Winner Circle. So if Church's Restaurant on Linwood and Gillum, they're a part of the Winner Circle?
Well, Church's is a commercial. That's a commercial chain. So I don't know if we would claim Church's as it. But if we're talking about like Luffy's Fried Fish, or if we're talking about my boy Headquarters, Ryan's Barbershop, that's all the Winner Circle.
So you don't have to be in a particular facet to be a part of the Winner Circle. You're saying that there's room in the Winner Circle for restaurants, for car dealerships, for shoes. I'm saying, like, is there a specific target market that you're looking for when you talk about the Winner Circle?
For what we've done so far, typically our hosts are athletes, right? And so we have kind of a sports-based audience, but no, we include everybody. We call them celebrities. We have barbers. We have people from the restaurant and hospitality industry. We have people from the clothing industry. We have, you know, people that are in the dentistry industry and things like that. And so, I mean, it's literally across the board, and we're just trying to galvanize Kansas City and make everybody feel like this is an inclusive environment, no matter what background you come from, no matter what profession you come from.
Okay. My man said galvanize. Hey, he bringing out the lawyer words on him, you know what I'm saying? Hey, good thing I read, because I might not have known what he was talking about, you know what I'm saying?
It's the Lincoln education, you know.
Lincoln
Prep.
Hey, man, hey, stand up to Lincoln, producing lawyers in the community, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
My dude Noah, he's Lincoln. Chris, I think you Lincoln too, right? Hickman Mills, all right. We forgive you, bruh.
Yeah. My guy Shakur, Anthony, they all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lincoln is producing some people out here, man. So before we dive into you being an attorney, because you've actually told me some pretty funny stories in relation to the way that you present yourself and the way that society tries to portray what an attorney looks like, right? And so we're going to dive in. But before we do that, I like to be able to create a storyline, because sometimes we sit before you as a fire chief or as an attorney, and I want to make sure that for the young people, you get a chance to see what was it like to be young Dorian, right? Or some of those conversations in your earlier life. So let's just start from the very beginning, man. So you born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri?
I am.
Okay, where'd you stay at coming up?
So where I was born on 74th and Terrace, kind of close to Raytown. Then from there, I moved to Raytown. It's kind of like by Raytown South High School. Okay. It was a little duplex. And then from there, I moved to 63rd Street. Not too far from Price Chopper, and then from there I moved to Grandview, and I was like, 9.
Okay, so Grandview. So technically, would you consider yourself a Kansas City native? Grandview,
yeah, for sure.
You know.
I mean, both.
Both.
I mean, I'm from Kansas. I went to school in Kansas City my whole life. Went to Holiday Montessori. I only went to 2 schools outside of summer school. I went to Holiday Montessori, and I went to Lincoln. Okay. So it's really all I ever known.
Okay. So the thing that I really want to be able to portray, like when you were coming up in Kansas City, do you feel like Kansas City School District prepared you for secondary education, or is it secondary education going to college? Or do you feel like Kansas City prepared you to take that next leap
I definitely think the environment, I can only speak for the schools I went to, right? I only went to Holiday and Lincoln. And the schools that I went to, I think so. I think that, you know, going to a PWI, University of Missouri, right out of Lincoln was different just culturally, right? You know, it's 40,000 students versus at Lincoln, my graduating class was, I think, like 140 or something like that. Okay. Versus at Mizzou, the whole university was 40,000. And then, you know, the black population isn't that large at Mizzou either. And so it was like a culture shock. It was probably similar to where if I would have went to like Shawnee Mission or some school like that. So that's probably what it gave me. But other than that, educationally, I think that Lincoln definitely prepared me. I think the one thing that Lincoln could have, or any school, high school probably, and I don't know if it's on the school or if it's on the individual, but like studying, like, you know, knowing how to study versus just having good schoolwork and stuff, but like knowing how to study kind of like independently is something that I had to kind of like grow into while I was in college.
Hey, you know what? You said a few different things that I want to back up on. You said a PWI. What does that mean, my man?
A predominantly white institution. So if the bulk of the students that attend that university are, you know, Caucasian, then it's a PWI.
Okay. And so you said that you were culturally shocked when you went to a PWI because primarily you were in an African-American based institution, right?
Every school, summer schools. I went to Faxon, I went to King, I went to, you know, different programs. Everything was black.
All right, so check me out. So you come from this primarily black environment. You go to a PWI, so you had to learn how to do stuff like code switch.
You know, maybe I don't think I've really been much of a code switcher. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, talk to us about, for the young people that may not even understand, what does that mean to you when I say to you that you had to code switch?
Code switch to me, and I know it can be broader than probably what I'm about to articulate, but code switching to me is when you change your voice to sound like, for lack of better, a white person or professional, you know what I mean? And you know, I think professionalism, I think, is a little bit of a myth, because like, what is that, right? Like, I mean, there's a dictionary definition for it, but I think we we envision it as being something that, resonates with a different demographic than our own. And for me, I feel like there's a lot of us that carry ourselves in a professional way that might not sound like that, but I still think it falls within the confines of professionalism. So I don't think that I value code switching that much.
So you say you talk about the way that you articulate your message for those people that are like, so you in a courtroom, and I'm just trying to paint this picture for the young people, right? So you in a courtroom and you're delivering your opening statement, if you will, and you like, hey, your boy Dorian, what's happening, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? Because that's how we talk in the hood, right?
Yeah, I ain't talking like that, though.
Why not, though? I'm saying, like if you delivering a healthy message,
right?
You delivering a healthy message to the people, why does it matter how you articulate your words?
I think that, matching them. Now, I mean, I guess in different realms, you could call it code switching, but I think, matching the moment is professional. I think it's proper. Right, I think that in the courtroom, I mean, out of respect for the judge, right? That's the judge's, arena. It's their rules. And honestly, when you speak of the judge and stuff, that's litigation. So I've done transactional, which is more so contract based, or what you call intellectual property, trademarks, and things like that, and also personal injury, which a lot of times settles, hopefully before you get to litigation. And if you do get into litigation, hopefully it settles amongst that process or within that process before you have to go to court, right? And so, but I have been in the courtroom with some of my mentors and different things like that. And so you kind of got to go by the judge's rules. You don't have to change up the sound of your voice, but what you say does have to come off as respectful to the judge. You say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to the judge, and, to the opposing counsel, you want to address them properly as well. It's a courtesy to the courtroom.
Okay, and I'm hammering in on this is because as a fire chief or someone that's in position to help influence employment, what I'm saying is that I want to make sure that we are delivering information to the community to where they can use. Yes. And so what I'm saying to you, or what you're saying is that you like to deliver a message to the judge, and you said something like being respectful to his position. Are you saying that being respectful to his position is not diving into ebonics? What does that mean when you saying being respectful to his position depends on how you lay the foundation for how you? I've always heard that you only get one time to make a first impression. Right. And so what I'm saying is that the way that you speak or how you articulate your words, is it a measurement of maybe your intellect, or I don't want to give you too much? Right. Just dive into that for me, please.
I would say, ebonics is, I would say, rooted in culture. And I think that there's a time and a place for everything. I think that doesn't necessarily, your usage of it doesn't necessarily mean that you're limited intellectually. I think that if you use it in the wrong arenas, then you may have maybe an awareness problem, or you may have just a problem just understanding the moment, right? And so when you speak of culture and things like that, not everybody is used to what you're used to. And so when you go to a courtroom where it's kind of like, everybody is considered equal and everything like that, you kind of want to use language that everybody will have a chance to understand. And there may be somebody that's on the stand, there may be a judge, there may be opposing counsel that does not understand your culture. So it's best to articulate yourself in a way that's just kind of, it's pretty general and standard for the sake of, giving everybody a chance to get the result that, we're there to get.
Hey, I love listen, these are my kind of conversations.
For sure.
I like this just because of the fact that, again, I truly believe that education is the foundation for change. And it means absolutely nothing for us to achieve the platforms that we've been given by God to not be able to educate those coming behind us of why we do some of the things that we do. And that's what I really want to hone in on, right? And making sure that the young people understand that there is nothing wrong with the way that you speak while you're around your friends. There's nothing wrong with the way that you carry yourself, again, when you're in the neighborhood. But let me be very clear, when you're going into these PWIs, because of the fact that we have limited access inside of our neighborhoods, inside of our families, and we need to be granted access to some of the things that we need to do. You have to carry yourself a certain way to be able to get the things that God has given you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I totally agree.
Okay. All right. So let's just keep going back in. So growing up in Kansas City, who would you say is the person that shaped who you are today?
I don't think it was just one. I don't think it was just one. Can I try to pinpoint a few?
Yeah.
So we gotta start with the family. We gotta start with, my mom and my grandma. So, my mom, single mother, I got that story, right? Nothing wrong with that. Great life, right? She's just always working. I'm her only kid, right?
Okay.
She was always working, always had 2 jobs. I think even now she technically has 2 jobs, but she's kind of being an entrepreneur on the side. She has one main job, being an entrepreneur on the side. But my whole life she was, working at banks or at call centers, and then for like 15 years she was working at as a janitor after that, right? And so just seeing her do her thing. And my grandma was, honestly, my mom was working so much, so my grandmother was like a mom, right? Okay. So, me and my mom got a good relationship. Sometimes she felt kind of like a sister because my grandma was who was taking me to and from school every day. Okay. I was at school all day because she worked at my school, so I had to go to they call it before school care. So I had to be there with her like 6 a.m. Till I was 10. Then I had to be there with her till 6 p.m. because she had extended day. So I was with her all day, took me home, everything. She lived with us to this day.
Your grandma did? Yeah. How old was your mom when she had you?
23.
23.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And then your pops was in your life?
Yeah. My dad was around, but I lived with my mom and my grandma. Okay. My dad was around. Our relationship got better as I got older. But yeah, I knew my dad. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And so basically my mom and my grandma was who primarily raised me though. And so that's the foundation of who I am, that commitment to the work, the loyalty, most loyal people I ever met in my life. And then I would say from there who additionally shaped me, man, honestly, a lot of inspiration I got in life came from like my peers, the things that I seen in the environments, things like that. It's kind of like it wasn't really a person, it was the environment. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the creativity I seen in our people and in communities and things like that. But then I think as I got older, I started to really look up to an individual named Marcus Denman. And I didn't even know him. I didn't meet him until I was a freshman in college. Well, I played against him a little bit when he came to our school in hoops, but yeah, he was a big influence on me in regards to just how he operated as a person, from what I could tell from the outside, and a basketball player. I was real influenced by him basketball wise. And then
did you hoop?
I hooped in high school. Okay. Yeah, I hooped in Lincoln Prep. All right. And then I worked for Mizzou basketball and stuff like that, and Mizzou football as well. But yeah, I would say, my friends, my mom, my grandma. Yeah, man, I honestly didn't have a whole lot of people that I wanted to be exactly like, because my vision kind of went beyond what I saw. Okay. So a lot of my inspiration came from like TV or celebrities or just higher influencers than I actually could see. I just wanted more from what I could see in front of me.
So talk to me, a big part of my platform is talking about mentorship, right? And so you're saying to me that a woman can effectively be a mentor to a young man.
Meaning like my mom?
Your mom and your grandmother.
Yes, I do. I do think that as a grown man, there are some things that there are some blind spots that I had and have, where if I had maybe a man from the roots that I probably wouldn't have. But I do think that, they did their best. And I mean, most people would say I'm doing fair. I would think that I'm doing fair, but I will be transparent and say there are some blind spots. I think that they can effectively, develop a man. But I think that it would be even that much better if there was a consistent man there.
So why wasn't your father that consistent man? Help me understand that part.
That's hard to. My dad he was young when he had me, right?
23?
He was 23. My dad was me and my brother, what you call ghetto twins.
Okay.
Right. So meaning my brother and me and my brother were in the womb at the same time.
Okay. All right.
So my brother's 3 months older than me.
Okay.
And so
different parents.
Exactly, different moms.
I just want to paint the picture for the audience. You know what I mean? All right.
I can imagine now that I'm significantly older than what my dad was when he had me. Probably just, my dad comes from, 31st and Spruce. He went to East High School.
Okay.
He was just trying to, work for the city, work for the water department. Just trying to figure out. I'd imagine he was trying to figure it out too, trying to raise 2 sons at the same time, have my sister back to back right after that. So it's like, I can imagine that my dad was just trying to really figure out how to be present, in 2 different households. And in this household, he making more kids. And then in this household, I'm over here, it's just maybe the women, maybe they wasn't seeing eye to eye. It's just, I can imagine that he had a hard time trying to balance all those things. I'm not making excuses for nothing. He and I have had private talks as to some degree. But it just kind of is what it is. But to answer your question, I could say it's just, balancing as a kid, because at 23 you're still a kid.
Yeah.
So just trying to balance all that.
So let me ask you this: was there any type of resentment or hate or disdain that you have for your father because you've seen these void spaces that you talk about?
Nah, I don't have any resentment or I remember it was this girl, Marissa. Oh, I shouldn't have said her name. It was this girl. it was this girl in school. I remember I was in middle school, I think, and she was kind of talking bad on her dad, and I never felt the urge to say some of the things that she was saying, probably because my mom and my grandma were just that good. I didn't feel like I was missing out on a whole lot. It's kind of like, when you don't know something, and again, I knew my dad, so it's like when you don't know something to the extent that maybe somebody else does, or you don't feel like you are experiencing a lot of lack, you don't get angry about it. Because I had the Jordan. My mom, again, she was working all these jobs, and I was her only kid.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I knew she told me she was overcompensating because she wanted me to feel like I could keep up with my siblings and other stuff like that. Like she told me that with her own mouth. So like, but I had things, I was good. I had friends. She would take me over to my cousin's house to stay weeks at a time, to feel like I had that community, my cousins and stuff. And then as I got older, I started staying with my friends more often. And so I kind of had some things, in place that made me feel like my experience was more whole than maybe, it was. And so I didn't ever have that resentment because I just didn't feel like I lacked a lot. It wasn't until I got grown until I started seeing like, dang, this is what a man is, and maybe I'm missing this and that.
That's good, man. I'm trying my best not to jump too far ahead, but you said some really powerful things that I want to make sure that the young people that catches on. One of those things is that sometimes we focus so much on what we don't have, than focusing in on what we do have.
Right.
Although life wasn't perfect for you, Dorian,
right.
He concentrated on the fact that his mother tried with her capacity and putting him around other people, even if sometimes the same age or maybe a little older,
right.
to being able to gain those skills that she knew that she was not able to provide him as a young man.
Right.
And so I think I think when you talk about that, the first word that comes to me is community.
Right.
Like if you are a young person that had a kid and maybe are struggling to be able to co-parent with someone and you guys aren't seeing eye to eye, although I do not believe that a parent is replaceable, I do believe that there is community out here to be able to help with being able to mentor that young man or young female to getting to the moments of success.
I agree. Yeah, I was in a variety of different programs growing up too. I was in Kaufman Scholars growing up. I had a big brother from Big Brothers Big Sisters for a while growing up. Like I said, I was in sports and things like that, different coaches. I was in church, a lot of different summer programs at church. So I met a lot of people along the way that provided, just different things that ultimately culminated to like me becoming who I am. And so to your point, I think that, and I probably can't even remember everybody, but I just know I was always busy. I was always going to something. I was always going to Wildwood camp or playing this sport or over this person's house. Yeah. Always doing something.
How old are you now?
I'm 32 now.
32.
Yep.
And so I think that's pretty interesting too. I read something that said that sometimes people may not remember your name, but they will always remember the way you made them feel.
Right.
Right. And so shout out to the people that planted the seed. God says some plant, others water, but God gives increase. Yeah. And so I think that's powerful that you acknowledge that I may not remember your name, but I do remember certain individuals or certain moments throughout my life that people poured into me that was not my father.
Right.
Right. What type of person were you growing up? Were you like the leader? Were you the quiet one? Were you the mischievous one? Like, paint the picture for me. Like, how was Dorian as a young man?
I was definitely quiet.
Okay.
I was select. It was like different ways with different groups, right? But I would say generally I was shy growing up. I broke out of my shell. I remember the first time I really can remember breaking out of my shell was when I was like 7.
Okay.
And it was we was in this classroom and I was playing. It was like a little dance party, and I'm pretty sure before that I wouldn't have even have danced at all. But but I remember that I think they was playing Nelly or something like that, and all the kids running around, not even dancing for real, just jumping around doing stuff.
Yeah.
And for some reason I just was doing it with them, and I just remember being the time that I started to feel like more in the group, I guess. But honestly, really, people always kind of just came to me and got me and made me feel like included, like even regardless of me being shy. Like even when I was in first grade, I believe. I was in first grade, and it was this group in my first grade. At Holiday Montessori, we had first grade through third grade. And then like children's house is P3, which is 3 years old, through kindergarten. So it's like all them ages are in the same class. And so it was third graders in my class. And they called them, it was a group of kids that called themselves the Hot Boys.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's funny, bro.
And so it was like, I was in there, and I was always clean though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had my first day of first grade, I had an Iverson, Allen Iverson was my favorite player. I had an Iverson visor on, and I had an Iverson shirt, Iverson shorts and shoes. And so I guess I looked cool or swaggy or something to them, but like literally they came to the first day of first grade, the third graders came to my desk and they was like, "You in the Hot Boys now?" Like, and they moved my desk over there to where they was at. And so I was shy. But like they made me feel included. And so like that's always happened in my life. Like even when I was having a problem, talking to people or doing, people always came from me. I don't know what it was.
Man, we gotta acknowledge the fact that you say that you presented a certain way, which was shy, and then there was a group of kids that brought you in.
Yeah.
That you said that broke you out of your shell. Mm-hmm. You see across the country that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is being dismantled all over the country.
Yeah.
Right, and so you just gave a personal analysis of why DEI is important. What do you have to say to those companies, to those industry, to those organizations that are not prioritizing DEI? Because it sounds like you directly benefited from that at a very young age.
I would say, you may be missing out on potential. You know what I mean? I think that people are the heart and soul of any entity, any organization. And because of, things that, whether it's comfortability or just cultural competence, anything like that, just understanding the people that are, you know, giving their time, energy, and effort to what you have going on. If you don't have intentionality behind, you know, making them people feel seen and feel involved, you know, you could be missing on one of your greatest assets to your company. And you know, as a business owner, as an executive director myself of an entity, it's like you don't want to miss out on any talent just for, you know, something so minuscule as, you know, just taking that one extra step of, you know, just kind of looking deeper and trying to make a person feel seen.
That's good, bro. That's good.
Appreciate it.
So obviously there's a lot of our population here. I mean, for God's sake, we record on Prospect, right? There's a lot of our population that are struggling. Can you directly identify with that particular individual standing before us as a lawyer now, but maybe earlier in life?
Struggling, are you saying like financially or mentally or anything?
To both of those, yeah.
Like I said, financially, me, myself, like I said, my mom always worked 2 jobs to make sure that I had at least what I knew was something. Like now that I look back and see some things, like, yeah, I mean, again, like starting off in life, I saw the progression and even where we ended up at. Like it's a lot of things that, you know, because I'm not the type of dude, I don't like doing the woe is me stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, I don't tell a lot of people stuff, but like, you know, when my mom filed for bankruptcy because she couldn't pay bills, like $800 mortgage and stuff like that, and you know, when she got laid off when I was in law school and things like that, or even when she told me when I got to Mizzou, like when she dropped me off at freshman year at Mizzou, and you know, I didn't have a full ride scholarship to Mizzou, but and she told me when I got grown, she was like, man, I honestly didn't know how long you was gonna be at Mizzou. She was like, I thought it was gonna be all she said she knew was it was gonna be a 1-year thing, and then financially we was gonna have to figure it out because I mean that school is expensive. Yeah. So it's one of those things to where, you know, God continued to provide, and people continue to provide, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, my mom, you know, what didn't have to pay, you know, people stepped in. My mom didn't have to pay. And a lot of people don't know, my mom didn't have to pay my rent at school. I lived in apartments the whole time, you know what I'm saying? So somebody stepped in and paid for my housing. Wow. And stuff like that because she couldn't afford it. And same with law school, right? And so 2 different people. But so I would say I can identify, I won't say that I struggled in my daily experience because, you know, I have food. I never had my lights cut off or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But my mom had some struggles herself that, you know, she told me as I got older and things like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, she made sure that I didn't feel it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So. Did you always want to be a lawyer? Nah, no. No.
Talk to us about the fact that you didn't always want to be a lawyer. How did that pan out? How did that talk?
So the reason, so honestly, when I was at Mizzou, let's even start further from there. When I graduated from Lincoln, I did not know what career that I was going to go into. Okay. I went to Mizzou and was a sport management major simply because I love sports. I wanted to play and do something, figure something out like that, but it didn't work out for me. But Mizzou had opened up a sports management major for the first time my freshman year. Okay. And so I had no idea what I was going to major in, and it had the word sport in it. So I just said, let's do that, and I'll figure it out along the way. And then so as I'm navigating my journey, I got the opportunity to be a manager for the basketball team. And then, you know, I started interning at a popular basketball team here called McKeithen Elite. And then, so I was working for Mizzou and McKeithen. And I also got an opportunity to be a strength and conditioning coach at Mizzou football. So I'm doing all these different experiences, and I'm starting to think like, and I have my own little side business where I was training kids. Because when I was playing basketball myself, I was in the driveway teaching myself kind of how to play. I was watching stuff on YouTube or, you know, I used to watch And1, which is, you know, not the greatest brand of basketball now, but, you know, at the time it's popular and stuff. But I used to work out a lot and train myself. I was outside from 7 a.m. all day. Right. I had great work ethic. And so, you know, I started being able to train some of the Mizzou basketball players that I was working with after practice, and I also was training kids after that practice. or after that training session or whatever. And so I wanted to do player development, which is basically on court training, basketball training. And then I got an opportunity after Mizzou to move to LA to train under a guy named Drew Hanlon, who trains, or trained at the time Jordan Clarkson. He trains Jason Tatum right now, Joel Embiid. So this was my first opportunity. And so while I was there, I got a call I went back to Mizzou to help Charles Harris, who ended up being a client of mine who I managed and stuff like that. And because he got NFL draft buzz and stuff like that, he was slotted as a potential second round pick.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to help him on his journey. Long story short, I helped him, ended up picking an agent, right? David Mulligata, #1 NFL agent in the world. If you know who Rich Paul is, LeBron's agent, he's comparable to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to compare, but just so people know. And so he advised me to go to law school because I interned with him during that time. Interned with him during that time, and he was just asking me what did I want to do. And based on, because I vetted Dave, I was in between him and Charles. Me and Charles' dad, we were interviewing all these agents. You know what I'm saying? I interviewed a lot of different people, and I built this relationship with Dave and other agents and stuff as we were vetting them. And then we ended up choosing Dave. And then Dave I saw the process. It was just, meeting people, showing your personality. And then I started to have some interest in that, it's still in sports. Remember, I told you I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I was doing player development.
Yeah.
And so it's still in sports, and I kind of liked the process, the relationship building process, and being a part of, somebody's most life-changing moments when they get drafted and so on and so forth. And so he advised me if I had any interest in doing what he did, I should go to law school. And at this time, Dave I ain't gonna play how much he was making, but he make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like a lot of more than a lot of companies in a year.
Wow.
And so, I had never, being from Kansas City, I had never met nobody with his professional stature, right? And I just felt like, as somebody who was unsure about how I was going to take care of myself, I felt like the greatest thing I could do in my youth is listen to people that, at least, whether they do what I want to do, or they have the type of money I want to make, the best thing I knew was to listen to him. And if he said, you should consider going to law school, he said, with you being young and black with no credentials, essentially, I had a bachelor's, but, you should consider going to law school. And I was like, say less. I was in law school the next year.
Hey man, listen. When I tell you that he said a mouthful, I just want to break some of that down just for a second. You showed up to college, and you did not know what you wanted to do. Think about that.
Yeah.
You did not know what you wanted to do. It wasn't until your freshman year at the college that you showed up to that you didn't know what you wanted to do, that they developed a program that potentially was going to change your life.
Right.
Listen, you take one, sometimes God will take two. I don't know what, as a young person or even an adult, that you're hesitant to being able to do. But sometimes I think God just wants you to be able to take a step of faith, and then the rest of it will come.
Right.
I'm literally occupying a position on the fire department, and I try not to talk about the fire department too much, but I'm occupying a position on the fire department that wasn't even there.
Right.
God said your gifts will make room for you, right? And so my thing is that don't allow the unknown to keep you from preventing you from going to the next level, because you never know what God has right around the door or right around the corner for you. So I just thought that was powerful, man. We had to highlight that. And then it was by way of mentorship again. That again, he didn't know what he wanted to do. It was his mentor at that time that said, hey, I see something in you with my wisdom, right? I've been on the earth a little bit longer than you.
Right.
I get a chance to see some skill sets that you develop or that you have, or some characteristics that he maybe seen from you that he's seen in himself. And he said, why not go to law school, right?
Right.
I'm telling you, you got to be careful who you're allowing to pour into you. Because the same way that this that this mentor poured into him and said, go to law school, there's a lot of y'all that's hanging around somebody that say, hey, you probably need to sell this dope.
Right.
right? Or there's young ladies, there's probably a couple of you that's hanging around other women that are saying to use your body to get some of the things that you need.
Right.
What I'm saying to you is that mentorship is invaluable, and I think that there's a lot of people that need to make sure that your environment is indicative of where you want to be at in life.
Agreed.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You said that he exposed you to a space that you didn't even know existed.
Right.
Right. And I say this all the time because, again, education is the foundation for change. It's real hard to be an orange in a sea of watermelons.
Right.
Right. And so although he came into this realm and he didn't have as much money, he didn't have that ability, he didn't have some of that knowledge, those knowledge, skills, or abilities.
Right.
But he do now.
Yeah.
Right.
We ain't got as much money as him, but we getting there.
Yeah. I'm saying when you're talking money with people that's making money, eventually you're gonna make money, or as some people will say, if you go to the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. Right.
Right.
And so I just want to encourage the young people to make sure that I should be able to, I should be able to look at your environment, look at your friends, look at who's pouring into you, and be able to see where you're going. Right. I just want to be able to talk about the winner circle. I know we've been at it for a little bit, but I want to make sure that the young people understand that there's a journey here. A lot of people want to be rich. They want to be famous. Here it is. You've been working with some of the biggest names in the NFL, NBA, and all of those things by way of you being an attorney. But here it is that you developed the winner circle. How did that even start?
Man, to be honest, after concluding my time working with one of the athletes I worked with, I was just trying to figure out, what could I develop that gave, me and my partners, the people that's, committed to me in a vision that we're kind of, or a role we're traveling down, like what could give us some stock, what could give us something that we have control in, right? And create the impact that we collectively desire to make. And so I just thought about, things that I had seen. Again, that same mentor, he has an event, if you will, called Elite Week that he does every year, where he brings together his clients, some of the biggest people in the industry, some of the best NFL players. You were talking about C.J. Stroud, Michael Parsons, Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, like all those guys literally are represented by the same person.
Man.
And he brings them all together to where they can build bonds, friendships, they call it family ties.
Yeah.
And so I've been going to that for years. And, I saw the power that comes from that, the joint marketing deals, all the things, like they make money together, they have fun together, they're real friends. And so, I started thinking about, what we have here in Kansas City, our biggest, celebrities and things like that are athletes. We don't have like huge, at least that are very, very present and visible, entertainers, or just big people that you might have from cities like LA or Atlanta or something like that. So we have our athletes. And so I was already working with Charles, for years, fellow Lincoln Prep grad, Ishmael Wainwright, who is a legend in the city. So is his dad and his family. Everybody knows the Wainwright name. And then Ishmael's manager is somebody that I met along the way, just through Ishmael. And so I had this idea about bringing them together to, kind of create that type of environment in the city, and everybody was on board. Ishmael and Charles have done so much to get to where they got to athletically. We made them the faces of it and things like that, along with all the other Kansas City athletes. We used them as the initial athletes to draw in some of their other colleagues and teammates and peers and stuff like that, in which we've been able to do. We started with them too. This year we had seven athletes. That year, first year we had 2 athletes. This is our 3rd year. We just finished. But yeah, ultimately, man, it was just a vision to be able to, again, using that word, galvanize our city, bringing our city together, using the social capital that the athletes carry, and not just to do some. Winter Circle Weekend is our first initiative. It's our organization is Winter Circle Collective. Winter Circle Weekend is just one initiative. We just wanted to create our audience, bring the community together, bring professionals, entrepreneurs, and athletes together so we could feel like one collective unit. But then we'll keep growing and building from there. How
did you imagine, how how did you build trust with these individuals? Because you already said that you didn't come in the door with all this money. You was an outsider. Now you're working with some of the biggest names. How in the world did you gain equity with these individuals for them to trust you? And you didn't, and to some degree, there was a separation of classism, right? Sure. How did you build that?
I think it's at least, I mean, and other people will have to answer that question, but why they trust me. But I think that reputation and resume. I think that, with me, I'm somebody that I'd imagine, and from what people say, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. My professional resume is pretty easy to see. People know that I've, been able to manage 2 first-round picks in the NBA and NFL. People know that I've been mentored and have interned at the biggest agency in the world, NFL agency in the world. People have seen me graduate from, law school and pass the bar exam early and all these different things. So I think that just early in my journey, people have seen me do these accomplishments and continue fighting a good fight, regardless of what was going on. And I think that, execution is the superpower that everybody's trying to achieve, right? And so I've been able to execute and accomplish my goals. Has it been a perfect journey? Of course not even close. Do I think that I would have been further, younger? Yes, I do. But from what people have noticed, I think that people have just evaluated my life and just been like, he's done a great job. He's definitely done enough for me to, buy in. And so, I mean, if I could answer for them, which I probably can't, that's what I would think that they would articulate. Like, they just saw me execute.
That first client, you didn't have the name that you have now. That very first client, I want to know what your mentality was like before you executed such a collaboration, such a contract. What was that like?
I think for where my mind was at with him is just sacrifice. I felt like my 20s was a time to, do whatever it took. So, whether it was 30s or beyond, 30s, 40s or beyond, you could live like a king. Those 20s are is that time where, if you gotta, in which I have done some things, and when I moved to LA to work for Drew Hanlon, who's a big time NBA trainer, at 21 years old, I was sleeping, everybody got these stories, but I was literally in a family's toy room, their daughter's toy room, and I had never met them before. One of my pastors in Columbia, Missouri introduced me to them and was like, hey, based on his understanding of me, he was like, I know Dorian, he needs to pursue his dreams. Can he stay with y'all? Long story short, they let me stay. And so I was just willing to sacrifice from the get because of all the sacrifice I saw my mom make. And I had to change it. I had to change the reality. I'm still on a mission, right? Yeah. And so like everything that I did, even working with that first client, was just like, I have to, whatever you need done, I'll have to do it. It's not even a choice. It's like whatever will put me in better graces with you, I'm gonna do my best to do it. Again, was it perfect? No. Did I do everything the way I would have wanted to? No, but I did my best. And I think that him constantly seeing that, the way I handled my life, the way I handled him, my commitment to him, regardless of what was going on, I think that that's what, made him like, yeah, I'm rocking with him.
So let's do a skit, a role play, because I feel you, and cognitively I can understand where you're at. But again, my audience is the young people, right? Okay. And so we about to make this thing real plain and clear, all right?
Let's do it.
So I'm Jordan, fam. You know what I'm saying? Because 23, that was my guy, man. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even real big on sports. Anybody in my family could tell you because of the way I was brought up. Yeah. Because of my mom was my best friend. And so I did what she did. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And she wasn't sitting around watching basketball, fam. So I just don't have the affinity because of my environment. But we'll get there another time. And so I'm Jordan, right? And so you're coming out of law school, you're wanting to land a contract, you're sleeping in this toy room, and you don't have what you have now, right? And so you walk up to me, man, and I'm getting on the elevator, you like, hey, that's Jordan, right?
What year is this? Is this 85 or is this now?
Let's say this is this early 2000. You already talked about, you know what I'm saying, Allen Iverson and some of these other names, you know what I mean? So early 2000, you trying to get a name for yourself. What is that conversation like when you walk up to me, I'm Jordan, and this is your moment? Go.
And Jordan, early 2000s, I mean, shoot, he was about to retire at that point.
Right.
I mean,
you got to put on your hat though. I want you to talk to me now as though you were then and you hadn't landed any contracts.
Jordan at the end of his career.
At the end of his career, you want him to allow you to represent him in some of the things that you've done with these other people. But this is your very first one. What is that conversation like?
If I'm talking to Jordan at that point of his career, I'm looking at his transition, right? I'm looking at everything he's been able to do, the 6 championships he's been able to win. I'm saying, hey, Mike, it's time for us to, look at, how we can continue to make you a household name for the rest of your life. How can we take this I guess equity that you have with the fans and monetize that and continue to grow that, right? And through these different strategies that I probably would develop for him, that I would pitch to him, I would tell him, I would probably request to take him to dinner and just kind of talk and get to know him.
I don't know you, man. You want to go to dinner. Who are you, bro? Like you, I'm getting on the elevator. I'm about to go to my next meeting and you talking about going to dinner with you. What you talking about, bro? Who are you?
Yeah, because if this dinner between me and you could make you more money than you made in your career, you're going to take that dinner, right?
But I don't know who you are. I know these people that can make me money. I don't know you, fam. So you say you can make me more money, but.
Yeah, I can make you more money, but who I am is somebody that has an interest in you and wanting to take you to another level. Obviously, I'm not going to pressure you to do anything that you don't want to do, but I'm asking for the conversation to see if you're willing to listen to what I have to offer. But if you're not willing to listen to what I have to offer, then that's okay.
What can I expect at this meeting?
What you can expect at this meeting is somebody who genuinely wants to understand who you are and what your goals are, some of the deficiencies you might have experienced in your career thus far, and how we can overcome some of those and how we can plan and strategize to make the rest of your retired career, your life, as prosperous as possible.
I did that intentionally because of the fact that, again, a story says 1,000 words, a picture says 1,000 words, some of those things. And what I'm saying is that you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right. For sure.
And so at some point, before you landed all these contracts, these deals, you had to make sure you was pitching that elevator pitch because you didn't know who exactly you were going to come across, when you were going to come across them, but you had to be ready.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to make sure that the young people understand, that in being an attorney or working with these household names or whatever, at some point you weren't doing that, but you were willing to sacrifice at that time to put yourself in an environment where you were going to come across opportunities and people that were going to change your life.
For sure.
So that's the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure that I was portraying, and you did good, man. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we give that visual. You know what I'm saying? What would you say that separates the winner circle from other programs or other things that are already being developed here in Kansas City? And then why did you choose Kansas City, fam?
What separates us? Honestly, the word separate kind of throws me sometimes because it's like, I don't necessarily do anything with the intent to separate myself from anybody. If I see a need, or if I have an idea or a passion for something, I just try to achieve it for that purpose only. Like the separation comes, I think, in the execution.
Okay.
If I'm evaluating this particular market, I think that execution and marketing are probably the biggest separators between any two entities.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of entities could improve on their ability to execute, and certainly marketing. I think that a lot of businesses don't market themselves well at all in Kansas City. So if I could say that, but as it pertains to impact, man, I think the obvious answer is just our ability to have, athletes that are pouring into the community, that are pouring into the kids. I mean, there's a lot of organizations doing a lot of great work here in the city, but I think maybe they aren't reaching the audience that they want to or growing at the rate they want to, is because they don't have the draw. They don't have the social capital, I guess, that we carry. Because I can't sit up here and minimize what these people are doing in the city. I mean, I know people, small-time organizations, big-time organizations that are doing great work. And so it's like, where there may not be that much separation as it pertains to impact, there is a separation as it pertains to marketing, certainly, and probably even execution.
So you got these individuals that are doing very well in life coming into Kansas City. Mm-hmm. in some areas, deeply impoverished areas, sometimes even having a poverty mentality. And so they're coming in trying to pour into the city. And then let's talk about the fact that then their car gets stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us, fam.
I mean, if I could take this moment, you know, I would say to everybody that's viewing, don't do that no more. Like, I really take that serious, and we will take the steps that we need to take to make sure that don't happen. And I personally can attest that I love Kansas City, I love everybody here, but we're not gonna play with y'all. That's just the truth. And I just had to take the opportunity to say that. But as it pertains to, you know, just these people coming in here, man, we just, and then that happening, again, like you said, it's people's backgrounds, it's what they come up in, it's sometimes not even their backgrounds, it's just what they think is cool, it's what's being promoted, you know, through social media, through all the, you know, we laugh and joke about the YNs and stuff right now, and you know, even people that don't come from a tough background are still doing, you know, risky things, you know, and crazy things. And I think it's just a time to where, like you keep on saying, mentorship, we gotta have better, you know, mentorship. We gotta have just, we just gotta have a better climate. And I personally think that when I keep on speaking about marketing, I think that a lot of the, I guess, what you call knucklehead behavior is promoted and is cool. So it's like, you know, doing things that would, you know, promote quality character. I think that we have to showcase that more. Like, you know, you have this podcast, like, where you can bring on people that have certain stories, or you have a certain story, your character is set up a certain way. You're showing it on camera. Yeah. A lot of people like myself or you or anybody else just live life and just be a good person. But to kind of combat all the things that are being thrown at the young people's faces, like, we have to get on camera too. We have to, you know, dress a certain way too. We have to, you know, talk a certain way too, to compel these kids to think this is cool, you know, or and so I think that they seeing so much negativity, and and the girls like it, or the homies like it, and so they do it, and it's just like monkey see, monkey do. It's really just, it's a shortage of leaders, and it's an excess of followers, and then people do stuff like that thinking that it's fun, and it's like, you know, I'm a legit grown man, like, and a professional. Yeah. And a leader. I can't necessarily care about your background when, you know, you stealing one of my partner's cars. I have to take that as serious as a heart attack. I gotta take it serious. I can't care that you're a kid. I can't care about none of that. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't. But outside of that, we will do the work that we need to do to make sure that when you do see that car, or any of our other athletes, or anybody's, that you have a second idea, because you want to go down the journey of being a good person. We will do the work to make sure that we don't just complain about it, or we don't be aggressive about it, but we will try to help you before you make that decision.
If I want to make sure that Kansas City understands the opportunity that the winning circle is bringing to the city. And so if Kansas City were to lose the winning circle, what would Kansas City lose? Because you've only been around for 3 years.
Right.
So tell me tangibly, or just paint the picture for us. What would Kansas City lose by you walking away?
I would say exposure. You know, exposure just to be able to see something that could change your life. Remind you, I went to law school solely because David Mulugeta, the biggest agent in the world, told me to, and I was able to see what that was able to do for him. Because he went to law school as well. So you never know the opportunity that you will be losing by this entity leaving. You could see somebody connected to the winner circle. You see one of the winner circle athletes. It could be as simple as the car that they drive. It's something that you see or hear could change your life and inspire you to do something that you wouldn't do without that moment, right? And so by, you know, anybody doing things that could, you know, which we're not gonna do, but say if we left, you know what I'm saying, you might miss out on a moment that could change your life, your mama's life, your cousin's life, your little brother's life, like anybody. Like, we have so many people that are involved. We got somebody that work for the Houston Texans that's on our team. We got all these athletes that play on these different teams. We got people that, you know, run other organizations. Like, I'm not the only, I'm the executive director of this, but we got another executive director that's on the team for another nonprofit. We got, man, we just have so many professionals that are pretty big in the communities, and it's people from different cities. Like most of the people are from Kansas City, but people that are part of Winter Circle, they live in different cities. So you just never know what they could be bringing to the city, and we're bringing so much more as we continue to grow. So I'm not to be arrogant, but I don't think Kansas City wants to lose us.
So just for layman's terms, if you did an event this Saturday, the market of individuals for Winter Circle, so I would come to the event this Saturday to become a basketball player. I would come to the event this Saturday to become an attorney. I would come to the event this Saturday for a book bag. Like, tell me exactly what the Winter Circle is bringing to the community.
So thus far with our first initiative that we've launched, again, we'll launch more initiatives, but Winter Circle Weekend, we have a business event. This year we called it the Pro Athletes of Investing. We had a panel of individuals that essentially talk to you about different ways that you can invest your money, different things that they're involved in. We also had a celebrity basketball game that's comprised of different entrepreneurs, professionals, athletes, most notably probably McCole Hardman. We had Mari Steele, who is a popular barber here, and also the founder of Stamped, who we collaborated with this year. We have my boy Jeremy, who's a big social media influencer, a referee. We just had so many people in the celebrity game. And the purpose of us having that celebrity game is for those entrepreneurs and professionals and athletes to work together. Sports is obviously something where you build some of the strongest relationships. You overcome adversity together. You are working toward one goal, which is winning. And so we create that environment for them so that then they can kind of work together and collaborate even after Winter Circle and just build that bond right there. Because networking events, you may or may not talk. You might get a business card. But when you play a game, you got to work together. You build that relationship. And so that's the purpose and why we do that. And then we have 2 free basketball camps the next morning for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so that's where, that's where that youth component, everything is, youth can come to everything. But, so they can come to the business event and hear some from people that are significantly further than them. They can come to the celebrity game, get autographs from the players, connect with some of the people that are in the city that are playing. And then they have the camps on that Saturday. So where if you want to be a basketball player and have that time and that instruction from the athletes right there, you can have it. Then we have the community day, the field day. So we have bounce houses, horses, vendors. We have, again, celebrity competitions. This year we had sack races, tug of war, flag football for those same celebrities that was in the game Friday for the same purposes. And then we have a free football camp on Sunday. So, again, to answer your question, if you wanted to learn more about business, how to develop your business, how to invest, depending on what the year is, the topic, just to generally network, we got that for you. If you want to just come see some of the people that are making the city go and even connect with them or connect with the athletes, we got something for that. If you want to develop your game, whether it's football or basketball, we got something for that. Or whether you want to be a vendor or consume from a vendor, we got something from that. People that are from here, everything is people that our athletes are from here, right?
Yeah.
And so we have something for pretty much everybody, young to old.
That's good. How much does the student have to pay to come to your event?
The only thing that we've ever charged for is the celebrity basketball game, and that's $10. We charge $20 at the door, but from the time tickets go on sale to like 12 o'clock the day of the game, which is like months, it's $10. But for the camps, no student has ever paid to come to a camp.
Okay, good.
Or anything else.
Last question, fam, for me is that you're sitting across from a young man who reminds you of your younger self before all of this stuff. What's the one thing that you wish that somebody had told you that you're now getting the opportunity to tell somebody else?
I would say jump off the porch earlier, which that's I guess that's slang, but I would say start something. Like a lot of people ideate and plan early. Some people don't, but I would say take a leap of faith in a real way. Like start an actual business. Like invest some money into your own thing early. I would say as early as the teenager. Like, the younger person that I'm probably going to speak most directly toward is going to be my kids in the future. But I got a little brother named Trace, and a lot of other little homies and stuff like that. Like, I would ideally love them to figure out something, even if it's not their greatest passion, whatever they want to do right now, just get that experience, because there's going to be so many opportunities as you get older and you find out what you want to do, that you'll be able to look back at that experience you had younger, whether you failed or didn't, and be able to use it for something when it's time, when it's meaningful. Like when you're about to have your first kid, you already have had those mishaps and things like that. So I would just tell that whoever that younger person is, whether it's myself or anybody, just start earlier. You're not young, and it don't matter if you don't know. Like, literally all your blind spots is one conversation away from being covered. You just got to look and find who does what you want to do, or kind of even just a little bit of what you want to do, and just ask questions. Send a DM, send a LinkedIn message, send a text message. If you want to own a restaurant, you don't have no money, you don't know how to cook, you don't know, just go into a black-owned restaurant probably where you see the owner, and just talk to him and ask him, like, I don't got no experience, but how did you do this? And just start that, you know what I'm saying? And then, figure it out from there.
I love it. Hey, I invited one of your friends to come out,
okay,
to be able to hold you accountable, right? We talked about a lot. Was there anything that we could provide more clarification on according to the friend? Sorry, I can't see you.
No, I mean, a lot of things that I were thinking about that I was going to bring back up, yeah, I actually, completed the thought on it. You were talking about, I guess, just the way you carry yourself or the way you speak, the slang, and knowing the environment. But y'all followed it right up with miseducation, and a lot of times if that's all that they know, and so y'all went on that. And then the last thing you said, I feel like was the most profound and advice to a young man, taking them chances early. I mean, I think that's good, and I think we had, like you said, our environment, we got a chance to see that, the way we grew up and some of our experiences working together, working for family, seeing a lot of entrepreneurs. So I totally agree. I feel like you hit every nail on the head.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I appreciate you, Dorian.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and close it out in prayer,
okay,
and just ask God to just step in and just.
Before we do that, can you give the socials, how the people can find you, and how can Kansas City help the Winter Circle?
Yes, I'm horrible with that. With the call to action. Call to action. Here it is, right here.
So for the Winter Circle, our social media, our Instagram is at wintercircle.kc. For Instagram, our Facebook, Winter Circle Collective, and then we got TikTok just the wintercircle.kc, I believe, or Winter Circle KC. And then my personal is at Dory G, so DORYG so 3 E's. So yeah, y'all can follow me there. And yeah, man, just the way that y'all can help the Winter Circle is just keep on coming out, tell a friend, and just keep pulling up, man. We're just trying to, grow and develop. We've been in existence for 3 years. I would say foundations, grants, everything, we aren't able to just do all this free stuff with, just pulling out the sky. So donations, anything, connecting us to anybody that can help us get funding. That's probably the biggest thing outside of just, continuing to consume what we do, attending. But yeah, just connecting us to funding opportunities would be amazing.
You have your 501c3?
Yes.
And so you are officially registered as a non-for-profit organization.
Official.
And what that means is you can donate and write it off.
You can.
Right? That's basically what that's saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just want to make sure that the young people understand that part. You know what I'm saying? Did I miss anything? We good? All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you today acknowledging your presence, God. Again, the platform that you've given me is changing the community one conversation at a time. And so as our brother Dorian comes and brings the winning circle to Kansas City, Lord Father, we just pray that you bless it. Lord Father, send the help that he needs to being able to change this community in the way that you envisioned it, God. Allow the funding to flow in like he's never seen before. Allow the people that are surrounded within the winning circle, God, to continue to pour into this organization, as we know that the foundation of the organization revolves around the young people, God. Lord Father, we just acknowledge your presence that you can be able to change this community the way that nobody else can. And so as we invite you into this space on this podcast, Let's Talk Shop KC podcast, Lord Father, we also invite you into the winning circle, because with you, all things are possible. And we just acknowledge that today, right now, in the name of Jesus, Lord Father. You said where 2 or 3 are gathered, you are also in the midst, Lord Father. And so we just thank you for being present. We thank you for your comfort. We thank you for your grace and your mercy on this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I appreciate you, my brother.
No, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We are praying for prosperity.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to your organization.
No, I appreciate it.
Are you still a lawyer right now?
Yes.
You are? Okay, so you kind of dibbling and dabbling. You lawyer, the non-for-profit.
Right.
You trying to get the bag however you can.
I am.
What about the young ladies, bro? You got a girl? You married?
I don't got nothing.
So the young ladies can pull up too, though.
They can pull up whenever they want to. You know what I'm saying?
Right on. So you welcome it. You're welcome to the idea of having someone share in this endeavor.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of themselves before they approach me. You know, obviously we on a mission. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have time to play around. Like I like to have fun. We'll play around in all ways that are appropriate and things like that. But in playing around with matters that are important as it pertains to like loyalty and honesty and all that, like we not doing that. We not. So if you're not ready to be completely honest, be completely loyal, you don't got to be perfect, but just at least come with those foundational things that for some reason people think are extra. Yeah. Like if you're not foundationally just there, right, then just keep it moving. Keep working on yourself. Yeah.
You like? I mean, I just want to paint the picture. You like cougars? We like young ones. What you like, bruh?
That's a hard question to answer. Like I really don't. I want to say I don't discriminate. I don't want nobody too old now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have a good amount of kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know women feel like they got a clock. So I just want somebody that's gonna really prioritize taking care of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying financially. I'm not doing any of that. I'm talking about just taking care of my soul, my spirit, my heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got people that care about me. So I can't go through another process of people being, affected by what I'm going through with a woman. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And I can't go through that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just because I feel like the things that I have real good intentions and desires for that bond and that union between me and a woman. And so if a woman's not on that same page, I can't afford to, especially at this point in my life, interact with her. I don't want to be friends. If you're not a good woman, if you're not an honest woman, I don't even want to be your friend. I don't even care if you're dating another dude. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to expose myself to a woman that's capable of doing certain things. I don't want to see that no more.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, KC, you heard it here first. The winning circle is here in Kansas City to stay. They've been around for the last 3 years. They're pouring into the community in a way to where I pray and wished that we had. But it sounds like they're bringing the change that they want to see. So join in, pour into the organization, the winning circle. He shout out his socials. Support him any way that you can, because you supporting him is supporting the community. We, in this platform, we're not giving up on this city. There's a lot of great things that's going on, and there's a lot of changes and challenges that are going on in Kansas City. But it's people like Dorian that's saying that I see you, KC. I've been elevated to this platform, but I'm willing to pour back into you.
Can I just shout out my team real quick?
Yeah, no doubt.
So, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to shout out, man, everybody from Charles, Ishmael, Renee, McKeithen, Lee, Shell, Michelle, Broderick, Taylor, like just the whole Winter Struggle fam, man. I hope I'm not missing people. I feel like I am, but y'all know who y'all are, man. Y'all do some amazing work. I wouldn't be able to do really much of none of this without them. And all my friends and my family, like I said, my mom, I already named them, and Shakur and Anthony and Stephen, all my people's, like, I just wanted to take that opportunity to say, like, we only get here because of the people that's really supporting us, right? Like, the Winter Struggle would be nothing if nobody came to see a game, if nobody donated $1. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This idea of being self-made, I think is and individualism is destructive.
Yeah.
And so I have to be intentional about taking every opportunity I can to name people by name, and I try to, because it's not just me. I think that my position as executive director is what's attractive to you and other people to interview me, but what I find is important is, you know, letting y'all know that this is a whole team.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
yeah, that's that.
All right, KC, thank you for tapping in. Like, comment, share. Hey, and show your boy some love on YouTube, fam. TikTok going crazy. Can we go to YouTube? Shout out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, people. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
My man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a story to tell. I know they want me to fail. If they throw me into a cell, I know wife she paying the bill. Cause I can afford to be quiet. My city is dying and children are crying. Be alert, not devour. The enemy's prowling you just like a lion. But we got the keys, I promise you. Hold on to the peace inside of you. No, I'm not alone. You're not alone. You got an army who follows you. It's time to rise up. Lift your